right? Like I dug myself in this hole one shovel scoop at a time. I can get out the same way. And I just made a decision that no matter what it took, I was going to take any opportunity given to me. I was going to be there at the Aztec before everybody, after everybody. There was not a day or time I would not be there. And in that, I got promoted, got my license, opened more doors to more opportunities. I just made a decision. So for anybody that's really struggling right now, you will not change until you're ready to. And for some people, that comes at 30 years old. For some people, that never comes, right? Yeah. But if your purpose and your why is greater than yourself, it will happen inevitably.
Hey guys, I'm here with my great friend, Joseph Anthony, and we're going to hear his story today of how he went from being homeless to a successful entrepreneur. I've only known this guy for a few years, but the growth he has made is tremendous. You've got to check this out. Joseph, what's up, my man?
Man, happy to be here, brother. It's surreal getting to put my hands on it.
Well, you've been following the show,
yeah,
and you just said offline before we hit record.
Yep,
kind of cool to be in here.
It's surreal. It really is. Like I was saying with my business, like I try to keep, because we have members in different states, and so yeah, it's cool to talk on the Zoom, but getting your hands on something, touching it, feeling it, makes it so much more special, right?
Well, you came all the way up from Texas, man. So you're coming from out of state. Appreciate you flying and spending the time and energy, man, to come up here.
I appreciate you giving me excuse to step out of San Antonio for a bit.
And I have to commend you. You have a very honest girlfriend. She told me that my coffee, just absolute garbage.
She was not a fan. You know, I heard something similar when we first met. And I said, no, I think you got to try something 3 times before you like it or not.
Oh, to you? She said that to you? Mm. So maybe just more coffee?
More coffee.
Or she just doesn't like coffee.
It's more coffee.
All right, so we got to take our listeners back to how you and I got connected, because it's just a fun, random, hilarious, exciting story.
It was.
So it's 2021. I believe it was 21. It's coming out of COVID, and one of my favorite artists in the world, and some people may not know this, David Bisbal. So he's a very super famous Spanish pop artist. I'm probably not his demographic of listeners, right? So it's like a lot of Spanish-speaking Hispanic women who like have a crush on him,
right?
And then like that's it, right?
The
like,
Justin Bieber of Spain, for sure.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So, but I love his music, so I've been following him for a long time. He did a U.S. tour, and it was Haley's birthday, so we scored like almost front row or second row tickets. Yep. This is when the airlines were. Southwest, I remember, just canceling flights. I'm like, we're going to drive down. We're going to make sure we get down there. So we drive down, roll into the concert. We were like one of the first ones to come in, and you're just leaning up on the stage, right? And did you come up to me? Did I come up to you? I can't remember how we started chatting. What
happened was I see 2 white people at this concert. Was already like, wow, I got to look into them, right? I'm going to keep my eye on them.
Did we look suspect?
No, it was just a very Spanish-speaking crowd, right? So what you think that is, to your interpretation, that's what it was. And then the concert started, and there was a gentleman who was acting an ass. And so I remember he was kind of close to where you and your daughter were sitting.
A little too close.
A little too close, yeah. And I talked to him. I spoke to him a few times. I'm like, hey, brother, like, calm down. Show hasn't started yet. You're being an asshole. And he proceeded to tell me to go fuck myself.
In Spanish.
Yeah.
Get the chingas, huh? Right in your face. Like, and like this.
I was like, yeah, hey, what's all this for, brother? So then it proceeded to go to, all right, let's get him out of here. And he decided to be reluctant when I asked him to leave.
Dude, we're jamming out, Joey. You should have been there. We're jamming out. Me and Haley like screaming, singing in Spanish, right? He had sung Happy Birthday to her. So she's just on cloud 9. Yeah, and this guy comes up. And I look over, and you and I had already had a conversation. You're like, I do a little bit of jiu-jitsu, like blue belt level. And, you know, I'm like, we're going to go hang out after the concert, right? I'm like, cool. And then I'm like, oh, that guy's causing trouble. And I look back, look over, and you're straight strangling this guy. Strangle walking him out of the concert.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody skipped a beat.
No.
And then you just look over, you got, got you, bro.
Hey,
white boy.
In and out. It was it was love at first sight, brother.
It was. But man, like I want to unpack your story of like where you were in that moment, because where you are today, like you would have been flying out here to come on a podcast back in those days. I mean, we're talking 3 short years ago.
Yeah.
You're in a way different spot, man, a way better spot. So like just share your story a little bit. Like where'd you come from? Take us up to that point of everything going on in your life.
Yeah, I'm excited to do that one. I will say that 2 things really came into my life and changed my life, and that was God, Jesus, accepting Jesus, right? And Matthew Shoup came in, and I mean this because we had a very personal relationship, and also you stayed in touch with me through that period of time in my life. So I'm born and raised in San Antonio. I come from a wonderful family. I have two very loving parents. My father bust his ass and he was a AC technician. He started as an installer, and that's the route he chose to do. He says, God put me on this earth to fix ACs. And I feel like now where he's at in his life, that was actually true. My mother she worked for a call center, very corporate, but always gone. She had the hustle. Like, she was gone. I used to tell her, I'm like, Mom, you're gone before I wake up, and then you're home after I go to sleep. So she's just been a hustler her whole life. We grew up in a pretty poverty-stricken ghetto area, and I tell people like this all the time. I didn't come from money, but I come from opportunity. Yeah. My parents made it a fact, or made sure that I was going to have all the opportunity in the world to go chase my dreams. And by doing that, they neglected theirs, right? Yeah. So we were in the hood, in the ghetto, yet it was easy for me to see it, but hard for me to notice, right? Because I had everything I needed: clothes, shoes, vacations from time to time, once a year sometimes, sports, I could play those, but all of my friends couldn't. And so about 13 years old, my parents move us out of the hood through all their hard work, sacrifice, dedication, and they get us into a town called Cibolo, Texas. And so pretty much my story goes from being in the hood growing up as this kid who used to get into fights all the time. My mom was the type that if you had a problem, she would take you to their house so you could throw on gloves and fight. And we would
fight the other person?
Yeah. You're like not gonna.
She's like,
you're not gonna
fight your boy.
Yeah, no, or we're gonna fight. Yeah, 100%.
Or my mom is your fierce. Moms fight other moms. Do you ever watch your mom fight a mom?
I've seen my mom get down a couple times, dude. Like, yeah, it was like, but like I never felt unsafe. She's always avoid conflict, but get off in your ass at the same time, dude.
But like that's just your world, right? That's just what you're growing up
with. Okay. Like we just fight. Like I'm the long lost Diaz brother. Okay. Like not as talented at fighting, but we will fight anywhere, anytime.
You get rowdy at a David Bisbal concert. Watch out.
Yeah, if you're getting rowdy at a Spanish Justin Bieber concert, you're down to scrap. But
I knew the minute he did that, he stood no chance. I'm like, shirt you're wearing, man. That shirt stands dude, no chance.
Get your ass out of here, brother.
Sorry, back to it. We squirreled.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'm here for it. And so she's just always a fierce lady, and that carried over for me. Like growing up, excuse me, I've always known that if there's anything you want to do, you can do it. You're going to have to sacrifice everything you love to get it done. I was never pushed to do anything in particular. I was allowed to do whatever I wanted based on their sacrifice. Like I said, I tell people I didn't come from money. I come from opportunity. My sons will come from both. And that's a promise I made to them, and I don't break promises, right? So a little bit to fast forward. I go through high school as a great kid. Didn't make the best grades, but could get the job done. I played every sport from wrestling, football, track, tried out for basketball every year. Could not make the team.
No.
Yeah.
Too short.
Yeah, too short. Definitely. I'm like, I don't know, vertically challenged for sure. But yeah, so I picked up MMA. And so from 14 to 20 years old, just training and fighting. And that helped me square out my life a little bit. So my dream was to play college football. I got some scholarships, and my grades were not up to par. I remember I got a letter from Coach Mac Brown from the Longhorns when I was a sophomore. And he was like, "Hey, we got our eye on you, kid."
Sophomore in high school.
Yeah, don't fuck this up. One of my teachers actually brought it to me. It was really special. I have the picture of it. It's really nice. And so after high school, I realized like football was all I was gonna do. I played for the U.S. national football team growing up. Like I had a lot of great opportunities to go do that. And so you couldn't tell me anything. Football is what the rest of my life was going to look like. Naive high school kid. So I end up realizing you're not going to play football in college. So what do you do now? Well, I start hanging out with the homies, right?
From back in the hood?
From back in the hood.
Okay.
Yeah. all over the place, right? Making new homies. And I realized, like,
For all these white folks that are friends of Matt here, all these crackers.
yeah. So
What is a homie?
a homie is an individual who smokes weed as an occupation, probably sells it so he can smoke more.
Okay.
Generally a rowdy, no ambition type of person.
Okay.
Right? Definitely the wrong people to hang out with.
Okay.
And so we start hanging out, and one of my friends has an idea. We're going to go join a motorcycle club. I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. Club, right?
Okay.
For the love of the game. To find out they're a 1%er motorcycle club. So whatever that life was, I was involved in it for about 3 years till I was about 20, 21. Decided to get out. I've been all over the country at that point, seen some things. Was not living right. So I decided to get out of that and go work in a strip club because one of my brothers in the motorcycle club said, I work in the strip club. I'll get you a job. Come hang out. And that's what I did. I hung out every day, made a lot of money for it.
Bartending, bouncing,
So
bartending. Were you dancing? No?
If this doesn't work out, there's always opportunity.
Heard.
Right? So I went and I was bar backing starting out.
Okay.
And then I moved up to floor host. And then I moved up to bar manager in the strip club business. And the problem was it was too much of what I wanted to do all the time as a profession. And so what's funny is the irony of this is I would go work at the strip club at night, make decent money, and I would go paint trailers during the day. So that's kind of ironic, right? Yeah, I would go paint trailers during the day. I knew this guy would pay me cash. We'd go paint trailers.
I didn't know you were throwing the paint down.
Dude.
Really?
I can
didn't know that.
I can paint.
You put some paint down.
Well, or either that or he didn't have anybody else to paint, so he let me. But yeah, we figured it out. So every time we pass this one highway, it's in New Braunfels, Texas. I always tell my girl, I'm like, yo, I painted that. I painted it. And
See
they're
that
not
one, that blue one back
Yeah, dude, no, it's real shit. And they're still there because I can't sell them, probably because I painted them. But hey, I did it. So through that, I decided to get out of the strip club, man. I was just living a bad life. I met my girlfriend at the time who we ended up having a kid together.
Yep.
With that, I pushed away. I was a loser, right? So I pushed away everybody I loved, everybody I cared about. My family is my mom and dad. Zero tolerance for like purposefully being a piece of shit. And so they were like, well, go figure it out. Go kick rocks.
They gave you everything you needed. Like you didn't grow up and say, oh, dad walked out. Like they were there. They supported you. They sacrificed. They did everything so you could do anything.
Yep.
And then you just go.
I'm going to go do what I want to do.
Go do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Hanging in the strip club.
Yeah.
Being a dickhead.
100%.
We're both explicit now, Joey.
Oh,
you were explicit a while ago.
It started, brother.
You asked me offline.
Hey, I'm glad we can get into it.
Just be you.
No shit. That's what it's gonna be. So yeah, I became a piece of shit. I pushed everybody away.
Did you knowingly do that? Were you defiant? Has that always been a naturally like why? Why were you acting
Always
like that?
defiant. I don't do anything half-assed, Matt. And so that comes with if I love you with all my heart. I will do anything for you. I would throw you the keys and ride the bus. That's the kind of man I am, right? I knew after about 2-3 years of my family seeing this that like I moved out my mom's house when I was 16. She said, if you want to go. Yeah. Because I had everything I needed. And so, yeah, I purposefully did that and I knew I let them down. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm already halfway here down this road of it was like sin, right?
So it's just easier to keep going that route than turn around and try to make amends then?
Yeah. Okay. Or try to get my life together. Okay. Like also I have this thing with like my family when I wasn't doing good things in life, I would not come to the house until I had something to show them.
Yes.
Right? So until like I had gone and got myself another job. And it was never drugs. I was never like addicted to drugs. I was addicted to the lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Right?
You were selling them though, right?
We were time to time. It was never like I made the decision to go sell drugs, but time to time, right? And it was the lifestyle of being an outlaw. The outlaw lifestyle is we go where we want, we do what we want. And if you have a problem with it, we don't talk about that, right? Mm-hmm. And that was my lifestyle. I was an outlaw, and I loved being around men that went wherever they want, did whatever they wanted. Yeah. And then I start to realize they don't even tell you, this road leads to, they don't tell you that. You just start to see it. So-and-so gets picked up. So-and-so gets shot. So-and-so, something happens. And then I realized like all my friends at this time by 20 years old are in college. They're almost done. And I'm like, damn, you really fucked this up. Yeah. You got to go make it right. So me and my girlfriend at the time, whom I met in the strip club, she stops working there. We had a kid together. Well, we're living in motels.
And this is when I met you.
This is when you met me.
So this is where our stories
So this is turning point. I'm going to turn my life around. So we're living in a motel. I decided I'm going to go take a bus, no car. I'm going to go work at Six Flags off this app that would allow you to go. I forget what it was called, but they would allow you to go. It was like Winolo, I think it was called. Okay. We'll pay you $15 an hour. You can go work part-time here. I went and started working part-time at the Aztec Theater, and I sold water bottles on the side of the highway.
Yes.
You remember that?
I remember that.
Okay. Yeah. And so that was the turning point where I'm going to figure this shit out. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to cost me. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know who's going to come, who's going to stay. I can't go tell my family I'm going to turn my life around because they don't buy that. Yeah. I got to show them.
Yeah.
Right? And so cutting off communication for a long time, I decided this is just the life I'm going to live. So I'd wake up, I'd take 2 buses to Six Flags. I'd go work there from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sometimes I'd leave early. I'd take 2 buses to the Aztec Theater. I would go work there from 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. to probably 10, 11 p.m. Sometimes stay later as I got promoted doing security. I got my security license and I realized, wow, you can make a career out of this. This is great. I love the people here. Like, I'm actually proud of what I'm doing. And then I worked my way up to being a supervisor. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, I just love this environment. I love being here. I love being able to help people. Even if it's just getting them autographs or something, it makes my day. So then I worked my way up to supervisor, and I realized like I have a license now. I have an opportunity to go get a armed security license, go make more money, stop having to work at Six Flags. And I met a gentleman named Matt, and he said, let's go hang out. So we hung out, and he picked my brain a little bit. And you told me, I don't know, can I tell him? Yeah. He said about the book, what was in it.
Oh, yeah, you can share that.
Okay. Yeah. So he said, what's your goal? And I was like, my goal is just to own something. There's a very fine line of things that I notice with people who are financially free and have time for anything they want to do. They own something. They're usually not on the back of the check. They're on the front of the check, right? So to figure out how that is, I want to be on the front of the check. And so I come up with all these ideas. I'm the type to write everything down. Yeah. I'm like, remember that. Well, we're going to open a nail salon. And in the nail salon, we're going to have, XYZ. And then I'm going to own ATMs, and I'm going to start a barbershop. And then in my mind, I'm writing down all these processes. And then I'm like, all right, calm down. So I meet you and you say, well, what would you do if you had $1,000? I'm like, I'd probably go start my own business somehow, some way. And you're like, all right. And so you start telling me you're an author. We get the book. And you're going to give me a book. So I'm like, all right, cool. I need that book. So I was actually embarrassed to tell you we're living at a motel. And I'm like, you know what? This motherfucker seems genuine. Yeah. He really has interest in me. I'm going to, for once, not be ashamed in the way I'm living my life because I'm knowing doing the right thing. And I'm going to tell him. So you came and picked me up. We spent a wonderful evening with you and your daughter.
We spent the whole day.
Yeah.
We were a whole day.
Yeah. We hung out.
We went to that cool...
went to Chili's and we went to Hops and Hounds.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Went to the bar. That was really fun. And then at nighttime, y'all took me back. Y'all took us back to the motel, and you didn't say anything. I remember I was like, "Hey, bro, you already said bye." I was like, "Give me that book." And you go bring up a book, and took off. I sit down. I'm like, "Wow, these people really like assured me that I'm doing the right thing, and I am who I say I am." Yeah. Right? Like I needed that reassurance because I was so. Like, is this going to work? Am I really getting myself out of this hole? Then I open the book. I start reading it. Chapter 2. There's $1,000 in there. I used that to get us out of that situation. Yeah. Never looked back.
And here we are.
Here we are.
That's what, 3 years? 3 years later?
Yeah.
So was that rock bottom or close to it?
Yeah, I would say.
At that point, was there like a moment?
I would say those years was a culmination. But It's funny. My girlfriend tells me this. She says, it's really weird how shit just happens to you. She calls it like bad luck, really bad luck. I always get it, but I don't notice it because at the end of the day, I'm going to do whatever I have to do. to get what I want done.
Yeah.
And like, I don't really notice shit like that. Like the minor inconveniences, I don't notice it. Like I have a mission, I have a goal. We're going to get there. And when shit happens, it's just going to happen. Like we're just who it happens to sometimes. Right.
So like, what do you say? Like, what did you start doing? So if somebody's watching this and they've been a dickhead, right? Did you say you were a dickhead or did I say?
I was a
you said
dickhead.
something else.
No, I was definitely a dickhead.
So if you're
there's a
active,
few
just
names
acting
for
up,
it.
and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You're in with the wrong crowd. You know, like your life trajectory is not going to take you to the right spot, and you know that. Like, what did you do? What are those steps? What advice would you give to a young anybody, entrepreneur or not, just anybody in that situation?
For me, it was two things. I had a kid on the way, and I had already had my firstborn, and so I wasn't in the position to take care of my firstborn the way I wanted to. And so I had another one on the way. So that was eye-opening already. I was 185 in 2020. Mm-hmm. I was 270 by 2022. And that's from drinking. That's from...
You were big when I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went, and I remember crying because, you know, the motel was like $600 a week. And between both temp jobs, I was making probably $720.
Yeah.
And just, there's no way to get out of that hole doing what I'm doing. I just did it because I knew that it's the right thing to do. And so I went and looked in the mirror, and I was crying. I was praying to God. I looked in the mirror and I said, God, if you give me another opportunity, I'm not going to fuck this up. And I took my shirt off and I looked in the mirror and I was like, you're not that kid anymore. You're not that high school kid with aspirations and dreams, and you made it that way. But what's to say that hearing your story, I can't make it out of this hole?
Yeah.
Right? Like I dug myself in this hole one shovel scoop at a time. Mm-hmm. I can get out the same way. And I just made a decision that no matter what it took, I was going to take any opportunity given to me. I was going to be there at the Aztec before everybody, after everybody. There was not a day or time I would not be there. And in that, I got promoted, got my license, opened more doors to more opportunities. I just made a decision. So for anybody that's really struggling right now, you will not change until you're ready to. And for some people, that comes at 30 years old. For some people, that never comes, right? Yeah. But if your purpose and your why is greater than yourself, it will happen inevitably.
Is the paint or roof on your home or business starting to look a little shabby? If so, reach out to one of our sponsors, M&D Painting and Roofing. M&D Painting and Roofing is a full-service residential and commercial painting and roofing contractor in Northern Colorado. And full disclosure, I'm the M in M&D. Check them out at mandpainting.com. Are you a small business trying to navigate all of the landscape of digital marketing and don't know where to go? Reach out to one of our sponsors, Imprint Digital. They are the go-to source for all things digital marketing. They are the producers of this podcast, and they run all of the marketing for all of my companies. Check them out at imprint-digital.com. And I hear like a real, raw, honest sense of just accountability.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I dug this hole. Yeah. I messed this up. I'm here because I got here. It wasn't no poor me.
Yeah. I really realized
poor me. Like, dude, I got myself here. I get myself out. Let's go.
It's really genuinely like all the way I'm living, my environment, my atmosphere, the home I'm living in, my body, the way I look, the way I feel is from decisions made 6 months ago. So if I change this shit right now and make these decisions right now in 6 months, how's it going to look? 6 years, how's it going to look? 2 years, how's it going to look? Like, okay, don't be a bitch. Man up. Pull your fucking pants up.
Yep.
Go do the work. Go get in people's ears and prove to people, to valuable people, that you're a valuable person. Yep. Stop thinking about yourself. Go offer something to somebody and see where life takes you, right? And in that, now I own 2 companies. I'm surrounded by the greatest people in the world. I wouldn't change my life for anything. We just got into a new office in San Antonio. I made a new brother. His name's Jonathan Young. He does insurance in San Antonio, but he has been he's been that light switch.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now another thing you talked about is so you make this decision, you start changing your actions, your schedule, your habits, and then the homies are like, "Hey, what are you doing Friday night?"
Yeah.
Or, "Hey, I got this security gig right over here." Mm-hmm. How did you create distance between that? Because when you made those changes, and you told me this, we were eating breakfast. We had a huge breakfast. I'm so full.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt.
That was a really
That was fantastic, bro.
Yeah.
That was fantastic breakfast.
But how did you create that distance with that? You changed, you know.
You know
deal with that.
what I learned works for me to really make changes and really establish so there's never any gray area on how you feel and how you operate. There's two things: is make promises to the public, be brutally honest with people. So make your promise. Tell everybody that's close to you and dear to you what you say you're gonna go do, what you want to do. That way you have accountability. And people that don't fit that description, you need to be brutally honest with them, and you need to break their heart. Yeah. Because if not, you're keeping that little thin line right there, and you cut that shit off. Because right now I tell people like this. They say, hey, man, let's go kick it. I don't have time. You want to come kick it with me? Book time on my calendar. I'll come to one of my events. Because I have other people now that depend on me to be everything I said I was going to, right? I already wrote that check. Now I got to cash that motherfucker, right? So, yeah. Keeping promises, being brutally honest is how I change. I told people the train's leaving. I've changed my life. I'm on the way to everything I've ever wanted. I can't park and stop this motherfucker for you. You got to get your shit, get your bags together, start running, jump on, and then we'll end up in the same place. Yeah.
And then so you naturally with that, you're going to have people say, you're too good for me, whatever. Oh, who do you think you are? Right? You hear all that.
I hear you changed a lot.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah. And I always used to say.
And you haven't.
Yeah. I always said, I'm like, no, I didn't, bro. I'll never change. I'll remember who I am. Fuck that. I did change. And it fucking sucked. I suffered like it was intentional discipline and skipping out on things that I like to do so I can be in a certain place. And now I'm reaping the benefits of that. And you're not. Go fuck yourself. To be honest, like I did change. And I'm around the right people.
So then as you're stepping into that spot, I mean, talk about surrounding yourself with all those new people and how they're coming about.
It was
because you're in a totally different, like 180 world, man, from just a couple of years ago.
Now I'm around people who have nice things and talk a certain way, right? That's how I tell people all the time, even in the side of the city that I work in the Dominion. I'm from San Antonio, but I'm not from here, right? Yeah. And so it was very weird.
Because it's a little more upscale,
a little more buttoned up.
Buttoned up.
It's a little buttoned up.
I like that word, buttoned up.
A little buttoned up.
Okay.
Yeah, I get in there and I meet these people and I'm like, man, I got to kind of conform, but I still got to be me. And I just said, fuck it. I'm just going to be me. They like it. Cool. If not, cool. And it's done wonders for me.
It's really cool. So talk about the businesses.
Yeah.
So I'll let you share, man.
I own a health insurance agency in San Antonio. I got my health insurance license. I'm licensed in 32 states, including Colorado. It's called Joseph Anthony Insurance Solutions, which is pretty awesome because I have a son named Joseph. I have a son named Anthony. My name is Joseph Anthony, and I'll be able to leave it to both of them.
Love that.
When I'm gone. Yeah. And so basically what I do is, do you know how like when people are looking for insurance, they kind of have to go to the marketplace? Business owners, they kind of don't get offered insurance. What I do is I customize private market plans through the largest healthcare company in America, United Healthcare. They have over 1 million doctors and physicians, and it's pretty special because we do private market insurance only. And I tell people I can't just sell you insurance. I have to be able to help you. It has to be a good fit. And they're medically underwritten plans, so you have to qualify for them. And so it's a whole process. But a lot of people, when you get insurance, pay for shit that you don't need through the marketplace, Obamacare, Osamacare, I call it. And they pay for a bunch of shit they don't use. If you make more money, but you're not out of that range, then they kind of charge you more. You're paying for everybody else to have nicer shit. It really doesn't do anything on the back end for you. Gets you into the doctor, and that's about it. With private market insurance, it's like 20 to 40% cheaper, more affordable. You can go to any doctor in America. I tell people all the time, if you go to a doctor that's not in our network, I'll pay for your bill myself because they're so large. You can go anywhere you want. And with that, I was able to brand myself, own something, right? This is for Joseph. I've spent my whole life busting my ass for other people, and I didn't get any more than what I always got. Yep. And now you gave a man with ambition, fire, who will never go back to the man he was, an opportunity to create something for him and his family. Yeah. I'll see you later, homie.
Love that. How were those first couple days? Like, so you go get licensed. Did you pass the test right away?
No, I failed.
How many times? Well, no, and I think, man, somebody getting into real estate, insurance, whatever, you got to pass that test. Not everybody does.
First off, it cost about $600 just to get your license, right? So that's with
Yeah.
the practice test, the licensing fees. But I was able to meet a gentleman named Rob Evans. He is a satellite, which means that basically he helps run offices that we lease or don't. Some people don't charge in San Antonio for United Healthcare. Mm-hmm. And we did an interview, and he didn't call me back or anything. I'm like, man, what's going on? So I go get in his ear. I show up to the office. He's like, yeah, let's talk about it. I told him my story. It's a gentleman named Randall Rutledge that he kind of runs our office before we moved out. And he come from the oil field. He comes from hard work. He didn't have money growing up. He said, I'm going to take a chance on you. And so I failed my test twice, and I'm telling Rob, like, I have no money. I'm sorry. I keep failing this test. Just please pay for it one more time. I'm going to pass this fucker. And I passed it. Yeah. And I go to the office. I'm ecstatic. I'm like, it's my turn. My time is now. I'm up. Yeah. And I don't make any money for 3 months.
So, and were you cold calling? Did you have leads provided to you? Because I want to dig into that. Because we were talking offline. When you start that business, like Dan was talking about getting into real estate. I remember getting into real estate, and it's just that first 30, 60, 90, 180. I mean, it's brutal sometimes.
It's not a get rich quick scheme, brother.
Right away.
Yeah. No. It's not get rich quick at all. You're building a business. Yeah. You're building a brand. You get what you put in. The successful people don't punch clocks. Yeah. You're going to miss a lot of things that you'd like to be a part of if you want to build a successful business. So I get to the office. I'm all fired up. Look, guys, I made it finally. And my brother JY is like, you have no fucking idea what's coming down the pipeline. You
just got smacked around for 90 days?
Yeah.
Nothing. Closed nothing.
So what happened is I didn't have any money to go buy good leads. And so I get these used age leads that are 3-4 months old. And Randall said, here's about 200. You get 200 a day. And I said, you know what? I'm going to fucking call 200 people a day. I'm going to be in here from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. if I have to.
That's a lot of calls. I've done that before. That's a lot of calls.
Yeah. And the thing is we call people 2-3 times. Because if you call somebody, they don't see it. If it's important, you call them again, right? They'll answer. So I probably made 600-700 calls a day for the first 3 weeks and no sales. And I'm like, I'm too invested in this shit. It's gonna work for me. Yeah. But in that time, Jonathan's helping me build a brand. He's teaching me how to market yourself, how to make videos, how to reach the public, how to actually build relationships and not think about just getting paid. And I trusted the process. I went down that road. I made videos every day. I still do. Yep. I'm marketing myself. I'm branding myself. I'm calling people and saying, one thing I learned from you that's helped me in insurance, how can I help you today? When's the last time people call you and don't ask for shit? Mm-hmm. Right? So I just call people now. What's going on, brother? Oh, hey, what's going on, man? Can I add any value to your life, bro? Like, do you need anything?
Yeah, it's like pouring to people. We talk about connection, contribution, and care. Like connect with somebody, genuine connection, and then just contribute whatever you have to offer that can make their life better. And you do that and expect nothing in return. Right. Just care for them. Yeah. And then they're like, hey, this guy's my guy. You know, look at, and it reciprocates.
It's crazy because when you're a young entrepreneur and you hear that, you're like, bullshit. Just go care about people. I want to get paid. No, brother. It works. Yeah.
Well, I remember the early days of painting, man. I wasn't thinking about contributing, connected, none of that. Yeah. None of that. I'm like, I'm broke. You got to get paid. There is something though to that just churning out like 200 calls, knocking on 1,000 doors, get told no, get bit by dogs, chased out of neighborhoods. Yep. That builds that thick skin. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody's got to do that. Yep. But I think that sooner I would have learned that like, hey, this isn't just a dollar sign on a doorstep. You're like, this is a person with a life. And I've got relationship with painting customers, 20 years old. Yeah. 20 years in business. I mean, I made that happen, but I was churning and burning for a while, man. Yeah. And it really works that way. It built my skills up. Yes. Because you got to get sharp, and the only way to do that is get the reps. When I started, I was like, God, I hope they don't answer the fucking phone. I hope they don't answer. And now I'm like, get on the phone. Let me talk to you. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna change your situation. Yeah. But it was very necessary. And so I said, these guys gave me an opportunity to change my life. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this work, just to show them that their investment's a good investment. Yeah. Right. Even though I'm working for myself, I need them to see it. And what's funny is 3 weeks comes, boom. I get my first one. Boom. Another one. Was it 3 weeks, 3 months?
So it was 3 months of starting to get the license, studying for the test, trying to get the license, getting the license, trying to learn the system, how to use and operate, right? So 3 months was just not getting paid, trying to become an insurance agent.
Just to get there.
Yeah, just to put the gloves on to walk out to the rink, right? But in learning the system, ready to rock and roll, phone skills are getting there. 3 weeks from there, nothing. And so I'm like, all right, cool, fuck it. We're here for the long run. Like, this is gonna work. I see people come and I see people go, and they come with high aspirations. One thing I learned is never get too high, don't get too low. Yeah. When you win.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. Don't
go by
fall into the pit.
Right.
You know, but don't get too big for your britches.
Yeah. Don't break your arm patting yourself on the ass. I like to say that all the time.
So first close, man. Tell me about that. So you're just
So it was funny,
In,
Jonathan.
right?
So the goal is when you start is to get him on the phone, talk to him about what we do, pass him to Jonathan. Okay. He's a big brother mentor to me. He's been doing this forever. So one day, me being stubborn, I go in and Jonathan has a meeting, and I'm like, hey, Jonathan, I got somebody on the phone. They're ready to be sold. They want some insurance. I can help them out. Can you help me? I got a meeting, bro. And I'm like, fuck that. And he's like, go ahead and wait for me 15 minutes. I'll be out there. No, I can't. This is 3 months. Like, I need this right now. Yeah. And so he's like, all right, brother, I'll be there in a minute. So I close the door and I'm like, all right, motherfucker, now's my time. So I just went and did it. I talked to him the best I did, completely fucked up the presentation, was genuine and honest, and got it sold. Yeah. And he comes out and he's like, this motherfucker might be here to stay. Yeah. Because he doesn't wait. He doesn't need to be babysitted. He's passionate. He wants to learn. Yeah. He's going to do it.
So you talked about being just like genuine and authentic. You know, like we were joking offline. You're like, can I say the F word on here? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, man, that's how you talk. That's how you talk.
It's who I am.
But how has that played out in the insurance sales agency? Because to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like it's pretty buttoned up, shirt and tie, kind of that corporate banking.
I'm glad
really
you said that.
Well put together, and then you come in like you're tatted up, and you're like, what you looking at? What you looking at, white boy?
I'm so glad you said that, bro.
Has that helped you? Do you get looks?
Everything I thought about sales was wrong. I can't, first off, which was a hindrance, but I can't just go sell what we offer. Mm-hmm. There's a process. I have to want to go through the step by steps and getting them help, because that means that even if it's not with me, it's with somebody else. To get them something, and everything I thought about sales was wrong. And that I used to, when I was on the phone, I'm like, hi, I heard you inquired about some insurance today. And Jonathan was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just trying to sell this. He said, you don't talk like that.
No, you don't. As soon as you said, I'm like, who's that?
Yeah, no. He's like, why are you speaking like that? Be yourself, talk to people, be real. If you want to help them, help them.
If you've got junk in your life or business that you need removed, reach out to one of our sponsors, Hulk Addicts. They are a full-service junk removal company, and they'll be able to take care of you at your home or your business to get rid of whatever you don't want. Check them out at hulkaddictsjunk.com. As a small business owner, one of the things we will always need to address is a space to run our business. If you're looking to do a small tenant finish, maybe even build a building from the ground up, you've got to reach out to one of our sponsors, Mendel Construction. They are a full-service commercial contractor that can take care of your business needs to build the space and place of your dreams to run your business. Check them out at mendelandcompany.com. If you're a Christian small business owner, you have to check out one of our sponsors, the Foundry Advisory. They are a Christian peer advisory community here in Northern Colorado and the Front Range that is designed to give you encouragement, support, and insight to grow your business with other like-minded Christian business owners. Not only are they a sponsor and a partner of this podcast, but I'm also a member of their community. Check them out at thefoundryadvisory.com.
And so it's helped a lot. I think in terms of everybody in my office, man, I kind of distance myself a little bit in terms of success early on.
I just think like if somebody's got your background, so you use profanity. Yeah. Right? Like I don't see a lot of realtors running around doing that. But I mean, has that served you? Do people go, wait, like, this isn't a typical insurer. There's something different about this guy. Like, you're
Yeah.
real, you're unique.
Yeah.
Has that hindered you at all?
No.
No?
I was so afraid, deathly afraid of having to become a different
Because
person.
do the white boy Joseph.
You were inquiring about something. You were inquiring about some insurance today, brother. Let me help you out. I sound like a fucking like a baseball player, like an announcer from the fucking 60s. We got old Corley coming to the fucking no. I had to be me, bro. I learned how to be me, but to not be me at certain times, right? You have to read the room too.
Yes.
So be you, but there's different percentages people can handle, and different percentages of you people deserve to have, right? So I was afraid. My biggest fear has gotten me the most success, and in that, I kind of rocked the boat in my business.
Yeah.
So as soon as insurance started kicking off for me and I started making some money and I see like, man, I'm kind of creating some distance here from people who started when I started. And there's a lot more people who are doing a lot better, but in my relative circle, I started to create some distance and kind of.
So you're leading the rookies per se in
100%
in that space. Yeah.
And so I realized like, I talk about the city of San Antonio. This might be a little off topic all the time. How much I love it. My girl gives me shit, and how much it means to me. Yeah, it's the skyline, brother.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I drew it. That's why the buildings are all fucked up.
Because you drew it.
Yeah, but it's all me, though.
Little kid sketched it out on your arm. Did you see this, Joey? Hold that up to this camera. Look at this.
Look, it's the real deal, brother. I have an angel with an AK right here too, in case you were wondering. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so
You're starting to lead the pack and break out.
Yeah. And then I decided all I've ever wanted to do was be the man that the child version of me always wanted to, and come up to the door and say, hey, your family's rent's paid for the month. You get to go play football. You get to go do certain things, right? That being in your area doesn't provide you. You get to have the newest Jordans for school, right? That a lot of parents bust their ass, but due to lack of opportunity in those areas don't have. So I created this group. It's called the Lion's Den.
Yeah.
And
talk about that.
Yeah, I'm excited, bro. What that was I was in the office from 7 a.m., 8 a.m. to 11, 12 p.m. And I started to get accolades and recognition for it. What that did was that's just who I was. I wasn't going to let this opportunity slip. So other people wanted to join. They're like, dude, I want to come hang out with you. Like when everybody's leaving the office, you're in there grinding. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's how this is going to work. So they start to join. And I said, you know what? I might have an opportunity here to build something that can, one, build a network for me to create relationships, two, bring more people close to me that are on the same goal that I'm on, and in return, give back to the community in which I came from. And so I created the Lion's Den. It's a nonprofit organization.
And not only did you create it, you have the 501c3 established.
Yes, sir.
And how long did that take? Because that takes a minute.
A few weeks.
And it's through?
Yeah.
How'd you get through that fast?
Online.
But they like certified it.
Yeah,
Everything.
you have to go get, so the insurance was first. You don't have to establish it as a for-profit business insurance, right? You can have just your 1099. Technically, you're in business for yourself.
Right.
But I have a lady that does my grants, paperwork, everything for the nonprofit, and we're working on a tax exemption right now, things of that nature. And basically,
so you've got it established. They just haven't gotten the tax.
Right.
I thought you had got the full tax exemption.
Oh no, bro. That's
man.
Even with like grants and stuff, that's months out.
Okay. That's what
Yeah.
I thought.
So no, that's gonna be probably September. But the thing is what it is it's a private networking group. So there's a gentleman called Andrew Tate. His name's Andrew Tate. He started Hustlers University. I was in that for a little bit, and you can't really get a hold of anybody. It's just kind of like, and it's awesome, and shout out to him for what he stands for. But there's not a lot of personal interaction. But you are around people that are super successful and kind of on your mission.
Yeah.
And it's access to different ways to make money in this world. For me, what I wanted to do is build a private networking group of individuals who talk about real shit, that share their wins and losses in life, that share what it's really like to be an entrepreneur. And it's a subscription-based platform. And what that means is people pay a monthly fee, a membership fee, and they become a part of it. And what we do is we hold a private or a public networking event every Thursday at the same place. And the whole community gets to come out, talk about their business. It's buttoned down. not up, so you can have a drink, you can talk about your business, and build relationships. And then every Sunday we do a Zoom meeting for all of our members where like 3 weeks ago we talked about identity. I had all of our members answer who they are, write it down, answer that shit, real shit, right? I had you come on there and speak.
That was fun. Thanks, man. Yeah, that was cool to meet the gang.
That was amazing for everybody. You answered their questions like what a lot of people I tell them charge a lot of money for. You do it out of the kindness of your heart.
That was fun. Thank you.
I'll remember that forever.
Yeah, brother.
We talked about last week. We talked about identity, and then we went on to leadership, on how we can apply leadership and into our business, who we really are. How much as a business owner do you understand your people? Like the people in my business, I know their favorite color, I know their backstory, I know everything about them, right? Because I care. Real leadership is getting people to want to do more, not pointing your finger and delegating what they should do. So we pick those topics every week, and we have speakers come in like yourself, and then we do a private event, which is pretty cool. We just did our first private event last week at this rooftop bar. It was super nice. We sat down. We had a real person-to-person conversation with everybody. And with that allows me to be able to fund these back-to-school drives. So we have a back-to-school drive August 17th, where we're going to get, I'm shooting for right now, we already have $1,000 in donations, but I want 300 or 400 backpacks and filled with school supplies. We partnered with the Big Brothers and Sisters Clubs in San Antonio, which is a mentorship program. They're going to donate people to our event to be able to pass those backpacks out.
That's awesome.
We got a DJ coming out in November. We have a turkey drive. In December, we have a toy drive. So like I said, I've talked about loving where I came from and it making me who I am.
Yeah.
But my whole life, I haven't done shit to give back to that city that I'm so proud of. And now I'm able to do that. And my vice president, Marissa Ramos, she grows up, she's from the West Side, the inner city, and she has that sense of pride, but she also has that work ethic, right? She is a dog. She will be in the office with me from 8 to 10 p.m. And then I have a secretary, Christopher Esparza. He's from El Paso, but he's the most organized, motivated, self-driven person I've ever met. And he's out there making calls and helping expand this business. So this business that I started with no expectation has grown 300% in the last 2 months. Like, it's beautiful, bro.
Love it. Well, you're such a great example. And I think people get this twisted or confused as, well, I've got to hit this certain level of success before I can start giving back to anybody or contributing. And it's like, man, just like 3 years ago, you're
piece of shit.
You're homeless. Like you're technically homeless, right? You're week by week homeless, selling water bottles under a bridge on the highway. Yep. Kicking the crap out of people at concerts. Yeah. Having fun doing it. And then you make this total turnaround. But I mean, you didn't wait. Like you didn't wait till a certain level of something happened. Like you're like, hey man, I'm further along than I was, and I'm going to give back to these people that need to be there too, which is really cool. So yeah, I don't think I see too many business owners wait. They feel like I've got to get to a certain point or a certain level of success. I'm like, no, man, people need you. Yeah. You know, and people poured into you, and you're turning right back around and sending that out.
If you know this more than anybody else, you wait for the right time. It's never going to be there. Yeah. At all. Yeah. It's beautiful for me. It's like God gave me that opportunity. And it's funny, we were talking about this. My big brother, Jonathan, was like, dude, you have what it takes to make $1 million a year doing this in the next 4 years, 5 years. Yeah. But now I went and started this thing called the Lion's Den, which is my passion, right? And insurance I love, but it's the vehicle to get to doing what I want to do, and that's give back to my community. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you said he was a little...
he was a little hesitant.
He's not upset, but...
Well, he's
questioning it, right?
You have what it takes to do this. I'm giving you the tools, and you can go do this right now. But not only are you doing this, you're starting something else. Why don't you do one thing at a time? I'm like, because a man like me doesn't get these opportunities often. I don't know when they'll come around again. Yeah. I have a vision, but one thing I have too is a ridiculously stupid work ethic. I will be in the office from 8:30 a.m. to 12. Sometimes I'll sleep in the office. I've crashed in the office before. Yeah. I will get shit done. I sacrifice. Like, there's no me going out and hanging out, me doing things like I don't go have fun. My fun is doing what I do now. Yeah. And it's starting to work out. And I see him coming around to it. But like, I'm going to do something that's never been done. And that's start 2 businesses that grow to be extremely successful and bring a lot of families along without that upfront money that upfront, check that says, "Hey, go start this." No, now it's watch me, motherfucker.
Love it.
Like,
I love it. Now, you mentioned just a little bit ago here on the podcast, hey, I'm going to be publicly accountable, right? So I'm going to put out my goals, put everything out to everybody, and then just be brutally honest with them when I'm in contact. But you also said, like, hey, I'm not going to go share anything with family till I hit a certain level. So have your family, have you had communication with them? Do they know what you're doing? Are you still waiting? Because we're like, you don't need to wait to get here.
No, actually,
are you still waiting?
As about 8 months ago, everything's been great. I got back in touch with mom and dad, and I was like, look, I'm changing my life. Things are different now. Even through the security thing, we got into some shootouts and things like that like they were involved in. They knew that I would check in with them. So now it's like they know everything that's going on. My mom used to tell me, she said, son, before I die, because she's sick, she has endometriosis and a few other things. She said, I just want to know that you're good.
Yeah.
And the other day I had my dad come to one of my events, and I went back home to my mom, and she was like, son, you're going to be all right. I know you're good now.
Awesome.
And that warmed my heart, bro. So that's cool. They know everything that's happened. It's open to the public.
So it's out there.
Yeah.
Cool. Can your mom come out?
I mean,
or
she has said sometimes she was going to, but then the way her illness works, like you just never know. So she can't really see it, but I got some videos and stuff coming her way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's pretty sweet.
That is awesome. Now you just happen to like just mention in passing, I got into some shootouts.
Yeah. You want to talk about
total
it?
Sideline. Well, yeah, because I mean, you've told me a little bit of it, but you went from throwing people out of the Aztec, right?
Yeah. So I went from throwing people out of the Aztec to armed security. Yep.
Sorry, that makes you sound like you work at Walmart or something.
Hey, shout out to them, right? Different strokes for different folks. So I got my armed security license. I went to go work at after hours clubs. That's where you get the most work. It's where it pays the highest. And my first week on the job, there was a shooting and passing where they're leaving the strip club or the after hours club we're working at. Boom, 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 down the street, ducking and dodging. I'm like, all right, let's go get some training. Let's. We're not going nowhere. Because when people try to scare me off, I tend to show you that I'm here to stay. So it tended to happen a lot. I ended up working for this after hours club, hookah lounge. And they didn't card anybody. Kids would go get drunk at their parents' house at 10 p.m. It was after hours, so they show up at 2 a.m. shit-faced with guns that you've never even seen before. And my third week in there, I was making cash. I started making $50 a night cash. I left making $400 because of what happened. And they couldn't find a security company to hire. They wouldn't work there. Yeah. They called it the shooting range. I'll tell you a quick story. So I get to the after hours club at like 1:30 before they start. And the night's going fine. I'm checking IDs. I'm patting people down. And this white Charger, about 3 o'clock, keeps speeding through the parking lot. They're speeding. And I'm like, hey, slow the fuck down. Like, what are you doing here? And they're like, have you seen so-and-so? And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. A few hours pass by. I'm out there smoking a cigarette with the DJ. And this dude comes out. It's an empty parking lot. Everybody's inside. It's like 3:34 in the morning. And so we're sitting there smoking, and you just see him walking between these two cars. I see that white Charger pull up again. And you hear it, pow, pow, crack, 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 like automatic fire. So I hit my chest. I'm looking around, and I'm going to be honest with you, Matt, if anybody tells you, like, unless you're special forces, you're not shooting back in that incident. Like, in that time, you're not going to grab your gun and go neutralize that threat. There's automatic fire hitting this car that's hitting the windows behind me.
You just duck and cover.
You're just hoping to God you don't get hit with something like, yeah. So yeah, it was a time. So then that happens. We're looking around. There's nobody else out there. I'm like, damn, thank God I didn't get hit. I'm checking myself. The DJ's on the floor. He's checking himself. And then I hear this lady come out. She's like, oh my God, he's dead. And I'm like, all right, let me go check it out. So then I draw my firearm. I'm moving from vehicle to vehicle, and I see him laying on the ground, and he's bleeding out of his leg. He's fucked up pretty bad. He banged his head on the floor, and I pull my belt off, and I'm trying to make a tourniquet. So I put it around his leg, and I'm like, it's just not sticking because, there's no holes. I'm trying to wrap it and tighten it up. I call PD, and they come out, and I'm doing chest compressions on him. So before I had stop the bleeding training or anything like that, it's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, because now you're just pumping
blood out.
Pumping all the blood out.
So he ended up dying in the ambulance right there. And And then they asked if I wanted to speak on the news, and I was like, no, I don't want to talk to anybody. The owner was staring at me like, motherfucker, you better not say nothing. Yeah. So then his mom shows up. That was a rough conversation because the cops are there. They already marked it out, and I'm just standing there like, damn, this really just happened. And we didn't know he was dead yet till later. So his mom's like, my baby, my baby. And then I went through that whole, it's just like the movie scenes. I was like, shit, he probably wasn't meant to die right now. She didn't think he was going to die. And I got into a dark place for a little bit, started drinking. And then I went back to work.
We lost touch for a little bit.
Yeah.
'Cause that's when you were kind of just off the grid.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I went into, you remember? That
Yeah.
actually means a lot, bro. Yeah, I went into a dark place. And so I went back every weekend. Like, that shit's not happening again on my spot. And that went from shootouts to like bar fights to I'm fucked up in the head. I was waking up at like 2 a.m. in the house, clearing every room and shit, just like super anxious and stressed out. One day I was headed home. I was walking home and this car started shooting at me through the alley. I don't know what the fuck that was about. I didn't really bother to talk to anybody, but yeah. So then I was like, I got to get out of here. That led me into the oil field, was in the oil field for a few months. They're like, hire and fire, get the fuck out. We don't need you here.
Yeah.
We're going to hire our friends. And that brought me into insurance.
And here we are, man.
Yeah.
Dude, before we wrap up, like you mentioned right at the beginning and kind of dripped throughout the show, is your faith, right?
Yeah.
When I first met you, we didn't talk much about that. I don't know if you
we didn't.
Well, were you a Jesus follower then? Were you exploring? What was your?
I was running from Jesus.
Were you? Yeah.
I was like, he sees this shit. I knew what was up. I grew up in the church. I know God was watching.
You grew up in the church.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Mom and Dad made it a point. We're gonna be in church on Sunday, and so. Yeah, I was running from God because I knew he was real. He was watching, and that scared the shit out of me. But I already knew what I was doing, how much I've done. Yeah. Like if I keep running, he won't catch me right now. And then it's funny how it works because then the shootouts start to happen. The job changes a little bit, and then you realize like, no, he's there all the time. Yeah, he sees what's going on. He sees how you're living. He sees what you're doing. That's when the accountability came. Yeah, I'm not going to be that guy anymore. And I feel like I'm venturing off into like these little stories, but so much has happened in 3 years, Matt, that like it's an individual movie clip in my head. Yeah. And you say something and I pull it out and then I'm like on to different things. But yeah, like God, I ran to God and said, I knew who I was. I knew who I've been. I vow to make that right to all the people in my life and patch these relationships up piece by piece.
So was there like an ultimate recommitment to God? And
yeah.
What did that look like? Was that like a quiet moment of solitude? Was that public commitment? Like how did that play out? Yeah, I
went from getting out to being in the security business after the motel, and we had already changed my life a little bit. I became homeless again. Me and my girlfriend at the time split up. I was staying in a homeless shelter and working at those after hours clubs doing that security. And I realized getting shot at, I was stressed out. Like me and her broke up. I was drinking all the time. I remember getting on my knees outside the homeless shelter and just crying, not even praying to God, just crying like, this sucks. I had an opportunity. I met Matt Shoup. I said, I'm going to change my life. I was doing the right things. And I fell right back into that pit. Yeah. Granted, I wasn't that far down, but I was living pretty fucked up and it sucked. It was miserable. Yeah. And I decided like, I'm going to go to God this time. Not try to think I can do it on my own, because one thing I learned is that when God calls you to do something, doesn't mean you're not going to struggle. Yeah. Right? And I got that from Jonathan Young, so I know he's going to say something when he sees this, but that is true, and that's what I've learned. So I knew I had to go to God and actually build that relationship and be accountable for that as well. Accountability's changed my life, Matt.
Love that. Yeah. Well, and I love how you mentioned like, oh, I was in a motel and homeless and selling water, and then you changed my life, and then it just went like this. Yeah, it wasn't like that. It was
there's ups and downs. Yeah,
it was like some more downs.
The scale shows yes, always, because even then I was working, I was like doing better, contributing. I had gotten these licenses, but the struggles were very much like that. Right, it was a wave. Like overall, it went up. Yeah, and life went good for me. But there was moments, right? Everybody has those times where even now I tell my team this, like, bro, at least once a day, I'm like, this entrepreneur shit, I tell myself, like, what are you doing? You think you're going to go change the world? And then I take that bitch voice out of me and I throw it as far as I can.
Like the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, that imposter
those
syndrome.
voices.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, you're doing this. You already made promises to the world. You've already cut off those bad relationships. You already got a relationship with God. You're already in. You're doing this now. And it's been a journey, bro. But somebody asked me the other day, he said, what's your story? I don't know. I'm still writing that motherfucker.
It's a great question to ask, and then it's cool to be able to answer that and just share that. It's always you're 25, man.
Yeah,
little baby.
Yeah, little baby.
You make me feel old, bro.
Big dog, but little baby.
You're like old white guy. I know this old white guy in Colorado.
Hey, I know this motherfucker, bro. Hey, he's pretty fucking cool. You're all right, Matt.
I appreciate you, man. Hey, we're gonna wrap it up. Told you the hour would go quick.
I'm excited for this.
We wrap the show up same way every time. You grabbed pink, man. I didn't make you as like a pink
candy
guy.
pink. So
You're candy pink.
in Texas, candy paint's a big deal.
Oh, it is.
Yes, candy paint on your cars, huge deal. Candy paint.
I've never heard of candy paint.
Oh, dude. So
What is this?
they have cars. They call them slabs. They paint them candy. Throw these fancy ass rims on them. Where I grew up, that was a big deal, right? But the candy paint's like the gloss. Looks beautiful. So
you're like glossy pink.
I'm glossy pink, dog. I'm glossy pink.
You need to listen to more Slim Thug.
Yes. Well, you know what?
I knew
I'm glad
Joey
you said
couldn't
that.
stay out of this. I knew we wouldn't
He
make it
knew
through without
exactly
Joey
what the fuck
bumping
I
him.
was. My
He
bad.
knows. You
Come
guys
on,
got to
Joey.
go hang out after
We
this.
need to put you on some Texas rap, bro.
I love this guy. Hey, keep feeding him
It's your
those.
long lost brother.
Keep feeding him those sausage fucking.
He's over there chomping on a
Those biscuits?
sausage biscuit over there.
Hey,
Bro, that shit is cashed, bro.
He goes, I don't want your coffee. And then he goes to the sausage biscuit microwavable.
Well, when I
sandwich.
want to get cracked out, I drink the coffee. But today I wasn't feeling it.
hey, the disclaimer was the funniest shit. I walk in, I'm all excited for the coffee, and he's like, "Hey, careful, bro."
Don't do
I'm
it.
like, "Oh shit,
Don't do it. Well, you saw what happened. You saw what happened on some of these shows. All right, man, back to it.
Candy pink.
What is the statement you want to leave with the world when you leave it?
So the statement is something I learned from a gentleman named Ed Milet. I live by this. I see it every day in the insurance business, and then I search and seek it and see it in the entrepreneur world, people my age in particular. The quote is, so many people's dreams can be bought with enough rejection and failure, they will throw in the towel and sell their dreams. And that's the truth, right? A lot of times people, I'm going to go do this, but they fail enough times, and they fail at the one fucking yard line. They're like, fuck it, you can have it. I'm done. This sucks. My dreams are not for sale, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like if a lot of people thought that way, they'd make it and see that promised land where, like, I never thought I'd be where I am today, sitting in Loveland, Colorado, talking to the Matt Shoup again face to face with 2 businesses. And I made it to the big leagues. So
I'm proud of you, brother.
Same
And
mindset.
all you've accomplished. Honored to know you. Honored to have met you.
pleasure.
And thanks for not letting me get beat up in front of my daughter on her birthday at
Hey.
a concert.
Hey, people don't know you're that motherfucker though.
I was singing
Hey.
in Spanish, baby.
Hey, people don't know. You act modest, but you're that motherfucker, dude.
Dude, thanks for being here, brother. That's
Thank
a
you,
wrap.
bro. Let's go, baby.
Hey, thanks for tuning into this week's episode. Would you make sure to please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel here? And please share this episode with somebody whose life it will make better. Are you a faith-based father and you want to have the adventure of a lifetime with your son? You have to check out the father-son hike of a lifetime on the Camino de Santiago in Spain. June of 2025, I'm going to be taking a small group of fathers and sons over to Spain. We are going to spend 6 days, hike 70 miles, have some of Spain's most amazing cuisines, see some of the most beautiful places and spaces, but most importantly, spend time together bonding with our sons. If you're interested in this adventure, check out mattshoup.com. When you get to the website, click the Gentle Art of Leadership button and hover down to the father-son hike of a lifetime.